Religious tourism mixes culture and devotion, art and spirituality, nature and introspection. Pilgrims and tourists coincide, discovering a different way to learn and experiment. There is something they all have in common. They will all want to return. The Marian route goes through 5 of the most important centers of devotion for the Holy Virgin. Adapted to modern times, the temples of Marian Devotion have become important tourist destinations that attract more than 12 million persons every year. Grouped within a radius of 400 kilometers, these 5 sanctuaries give life to the Marian route, which has thus become a road of faith, art and culture. But to speak of religious art and of devotion to the Virgin is to speak of the Basilica of Nuestra Señora del Pilar in Zaragoza. The alma mater of all Spanish sanctuaries, the oldest Marian temple in the world. According to an age-old Marian tradition, the Virgin Mary came in mortal flesh to Zaragoza to comfort the Apostle James, Santiago, on the banks of the Ebro River. Since that time, the Virgin that rises up on the pillar of jasper that is covered with bronze and silver has been venerated. A sanctuary in the middle of a city. The Pilar is a true symbol that accompanies many Zaragozans in their lives. The introspective atmosphere of the holy chapel where she is honored. The overwhelming magnificence of the Baroque style. The temple, declared a national monument, is a source of emotions. Walking through the Herrerian-style nave, the visitor ennobles his spirit. With a choir behind him and facing the alabaster altarpiece of Damian Forment, he is overwhelmed. Gazing upwards, the domes painted by Goya bring him closer to heaven. In the square of the cathedral, the Basilica of the Pilar shares the setting with Liceo del Salvador, San Salvador Cathedral, registered by the UNESCO on the World Heritage List. And in this capital of contrasts, the development of the city turns our gaze once again to the Ebro. The vanguard of modernity and tradition stand face to face. In search of natural landscapes to the north, the peaks of the Pyrenees come into the view of the traveller. As a prelude to the mountains, we find a medieval treasure, the Cathedral of Jaca, pure origin of the Romanesque in Spain. Nature in a state of purity. Height, water and snow sculpt life in Odessa and Monte Perdido National Park. And to restore strength along the way, Aragonese gastronomy, the wine culture, which takes us from Barbastro to the wineries of the Somontano. Very near the noble villa of Graus and magical places such as the medieval city of Ainsa. Downstream, overlooking the El Grado Reservoir, we find the sanctuary of Torreciudad. Standing on a high promontory, the sanctuary comes to life amidst an idyllic landscape. The constant coming and going of the faithful, seeking a place of peace, calm, and introspection. The old hermitage, origin of the devotion to the Virgin of Torreciudad since the 11th century. Saint José María Escrivá de Balaguer, founder of the Opus Dei, was the promoter of this sanctuary, which was opened for worship in 1975. Today, these grounds host mass pilgrimages, such as the Marian Conference of the Family, which every year brings together thousands of pilgrims on the great esplanade of the monumental architectural complex. The alabaster main altarpiece, the chapel of the Most Holy, or the organ, with more than 4,000 pipes, are three of its greatest attractions. But without a doubt, the incomparable setting, sheltered by the Pyrenees, is the most important asset of this impressive sanctuary. Crossing the Pyrenees, we arrive at Lourdes, cosmopolitan place of faith, which receives visits from the 5 continents. Its strength resides in the universality of its people. Every year, it plays host to more than 6 million pilgrims. The candle flames, the silence and the prayers, the semi-darkness of the cave offer the visitor an atmosphere of introspection and prayer. Only the human tide continuously arriving to see the Virgin pulls the visitor away from religious contemplation. The magnificence of the grounds envelops the pilgrims to the cave where the Virgin appeared to Bernadette in 1858. Light, representing hope. Water, a sign of life and purification. All of these take on special symbolism at Lourdes. All of these things converge to comfort the spirit of the traveller. Continuing on the Pyrenees, at 1,450 meters above the sea level, we find the sanctuary of Meritxell in the Principality of Andorra. The country was founded by Carlomagno in 805. Andorra is an open window to nature, culture, art, relax and leisure. Everything is possible in this beautiful place. And in the middle of all of this, surrounded by settings of great beauty, emerges the sanctuary of Meritxell. It is a symbol of identity for the Andorran people, as well as the source of passion for its inhabitants. The architectural ensemble, formed by the new and the old sanctuary, is an invitation to contemplation and meditation, to prayer and reflection. Speaking of Meritxell means speaking about peace, devotion and feelings. And this is because Meritxell is more than a sanctuary. The modern temple, designed by Ricardo Bofill, tries to merge the landscape with the building. The open-air cloister indicates so. The symbolism seizes this singular construction: mountain, snow, fields, light. Everything converges to Meritxell. Man, link that joins the earthly with the spiritual, gives meaning to the sanctuary. The Virgin of Meritxell, patron saint of a small but great country. Set among rugged crags, we find the sanctuary of Montserrat. Currently, there are more than 2 million visitors annually to this singular mountain to venerate the image of Saint Mary. At Montserrat, we find its Benedictine monastery with a history of almost 1,000 years, founded by the Abbot Oliba in the year 1025. This religious community is governed by the rule of Saint Benedict. The monks devote most of their time to prayer, work, and to serving the pilgrims who visit the holy mountain. La Escolania Choir School, Montserrat, is another institution that characterizes the sanctuary. Founded at the beginning of the 14th century, it participates actively in the liturgical celebrations held daily at Montserrat. Another jewel that surprises the visitor is the museum, which contains works by Caravaggio, El Greco, Monet, Dalí, Picasso, Sorolla, and many more. Without a doubt, they compete with the beauty of the landscape of this incomparable setting. Different influences, sensations that are difficult to explain, which envelope the Marian route. A road full of feelings that invite you to return. Marian route. The excitement of returning.